Yeah, so welcome everyone to this Science Open webinar. This is the first of our EASE conference satellite sessions. So the conference begins here, I think getting underway. Um, the full conference will be in Oslo in May, and Mary will no doubt be dropping links to the conference in the chat. The information is on our webinar, but we are delighted to have Science Open as sponsors and supporters of the conference. And as part of our conference relationship, we have been adding EASE and our journal European Science Editing activities to Science Open, which is what Stephanie is going to be speaking to us about today, and the kind of benefits of using Science Open to support journals for journal editors and the kind of activities that we can get involved in to promote our journals and papers. So without further ado, I shall introduce Stephanie Dawson, CEO of Science Open, to explain everything.
Thanks so much, Duncan, and thanks to Ease uh, for this invitation to speak today. I am going to share my screen um, and talk today about reaching new audiences with Science Open, and really talking about using the Ease journal as a case study. And it's so great to work with such a fantastic and supportive organization. So we are thrilled to be sponsoring the conference. Um, and I would like to introduce you today to some of the new digital tools that you can use to promote your journals for more global research impact. So there. As I said, it's really exciting to be working together with EASE on this project to promote the journal European Science Editing and the EASE conference. And I really appreciate this opportunity to share some of Science Open's features with you. And I would like to talk today about what Science Open and EASE are doing together and how you can potentially get involved in Science Open as well with your own publications. So Science Open offers publishing, hosting, and promotional services to journals embedded in a freely accessible discovery environment. When we started Science Open in, oh gosh, 2013, we wanted to create an open access journal with open peer review, but we simply couldn't imagine how to effectively attract readers and authors looking for content in their specific fields, just on the World Wide Web. So we started to build a discovery environment around it, first with open access journal content, but eventually adding metadata for a wide range of content types, books, chapters, subscription content. And as our platform became more powerful, we moved away from really publishing ourselves and more towards providing the same kind of infrastructure to journal publishers that were looking to grow their journal in a really crowded and noisy digital space. So everything that I show you today, you can easily explore yourself at scienceopen.com. You don't have to register, but you can register for free to use the full range of features as a researcher. Um, and so just to give you an idea of how Science Open works, I'd like to go through some of these features. At the core of Science Open infrastructure are topical selections of contents called collections. So those can be articles, books, chapters. And for the European science editing, for example, we are promoting the journal as a collection. And this is really one of the main kinds of collections that we have on our site. So each journal has its own search interface so that readers and authors can explore the journal content with a range of filters and then sort the results by citation numbers, altmetric score, date, or usage. There are journal landing pages on Science Open really offer a user-centric view of the content with a so that readers can set the sorting priority themselves, newest first, most talked about online, highly cited. And this really allows top content to shine, depending on what a reader's priorities are. And of course, this collection is then really embedded within the discovery platform and promoted during search operations. So thousands of people from all over the world search in nearly 100 million article records on ScienceOpen every day. Just click on the green search button and it will take you to the heart of the platform. The filters that we offer, such as open access open access or only preprints or search by affiliation or publisher, as well as the sorting mechanisms that we can offer, such as sort by citation number, by Altmetric score, by date or usage, makes us an attractive discovery tool. Just a few words up front about how we built the database. So we aggregate content from a few big open access sources. So from CLO, from arXiv, from the PubMed Central Open Access Data Subset. Whenever a new article is imported into the database, we analyze the references. We do a lookup in our own database. If we've seen it before, we increase the citation index. If not, we go to Crossref or PubMed and pull in the publicly available metadata and create a new record for that article. As soon as we start working with a publisher, we therefore don't just import their records, but also everything that their article cites and the ones that they cite and they cite. So we really are building up iteratively the database in those areas that are most relevant to our readers, to our authors, to our publisher partners. Within this search environment, we highlight the ease, content, and brand in a number of ways. So at the top of the menu on the left, we have a kind of a shortcut to different filter options. We show collections that contain some number of articles from the search results. So articles that have been added with a rich set of metadata, including abstracts, keywords, affiliations, and more. This will definitely increase their discoverability in a wide range of searches and expose them more to the more of their data to our similar article recommendation, etc. So a search for the word peer review in our newest content pulls up 270 results, and both the journal and the conference are presented in the left-hand menu and highlighted in the related collections field. So if you click on any article from that search, what you'll see is here a related collections banner promoting the journal logo and the header on all related content in ScienceOpen. So getting your journal out there, present on 100 million articles, is one of the goals that we have to promote the journals. We also help authors in this search environment, not just to find the articles that they're looking for whatever research purposes, but we also have quite a few journals that we are working with, that are hosting with us, that are using our full publishing service. So a lot of the researchers coming onto our platform are actually coming onto our platform to submit a paper to a preprint server, to a journal, for conference abstract, etc. So we created a tab called Open for Submissions. And here we highlight all of the collections from our partners that actually have a submission tab. This is really a link on the collection landing page I'll show you in a moment that links back to whatever manuscript submission system that you're working with. So it's not just all ScienceOpen internal. But in this way, we really are trying to use keywords, disciplines, content types, and more to help researchers find the right outlet for their manuscripts and also to help you get more submissions for your journal. The collections on ScienceOpen, we offer from everything from a full end-to-end publishing solution to open access hosting where all of the manuscript submission system, I think for this journal is with editorial manager, and the publishing is with CompuScript, but the journal is hosted on the ScienceOpen platform. Two journals, Learned Publishing is published and hosted with Wiley, but just indexed and promoted on the ScienceOpen platform. So all of those collection landing pages are give the reader a unified experience, even though they can be all published in different ways in different places. This makes it nice for you. You can think about what level of discovery, promotion, or even full hosting services that might be, required in whatever stage you're at with getting your journal up and running or taking established journal to the next level. Each journal collection page contains space for editorial information. So really a journal homepage here, like tabs for aims and scopes, editorial board, call for papers. The top bar of the collection will track the metrics for the journal on ScienceOpen. This is just the usage within our own platform, but it does give you a sense of, at a glance, how many views, how many reviews, shares, recommendations, etc. Because some of this content has been on our database for a really long time. When we set up the ease journal on the ScienceOpen platform, we were happy to see that there already was a fair amount of usage of the journal content and even one review already on the article, sort of post-publication, somebody sharing their experience with one of the articles. Anybody can check the statistics on the fly at any time on the journal landing page with the statistics button. ScienceOpen gives users a number of opportunities to interact with the journal. You can recommend it with one click. You can share via email or X or Facebook. All of the articles are open to our open post-publication peer review system. And then you can look at all of these statistics here on the fly and track share share counts or views, number of articles over time, just to give you an idea of how any collection is being used and is progressing. And for collections of our customers, editors on those collections have further access to extensive usage reports that include the geolocation and institutional usage of the content, click-through rates, and more, all in a CSV or Excel format that you can download once a month from the platform. And here's this download buttons. Also interesting for researchers, on both potential authors and editors, is the submit manuscript button on the collection landing page that leads, as I said, to an external link of your choice, or for example, on the Ease Journal, it leads directly to this landing page, or anybody who is using our internal peer review management, manuscript submission and peer review management system. In that case, this link will lead directly to our manuscript submission system. So again, we're really trying to offer comprehensive set of tools that can meet everybody's needs, but still give the researchers using the platform a uniform look and feel. So sometimes you might miss certain features if you're just poking around because there can be different levels of support behind certain buttons on the platform. We further to support manuscript submissions, offer do-it-yourself banners to promote your call for papers and more. These can be used for a straightforward call for papers. It can be used for crowdfunding for open access, and it can be used to promote a conference or other special issue. Here's the new banner for the Ease Journal. And it's quite straightforward to set up and get started. And then within our statistics, we'll provide information on how often links were clicked on the banner. This is really a way to try and increase the visibility of that submit manuscript button for journals. So we fully understand that for most of the academic journals out there, getting a consistent flow of high quality manuscripts from around the world is really the main goal. And it's also the main challenge. So to manuscript acquisition is one of the main topics, I think, at every editorial board meeting. Maybe there's a few where people get too many manuscripts that can happen, but in many cases, really getting more submissions is just as important as getting more eyeballs on your content. And so at ScienceOpen, we really have been thinking a lot about how we can support that through the features on our platform. So the submit manuscript and the do-it-yourself banners are really aimed at trying to help journals reach that goal. One of the other ways that we work with your content is through, as I was mentioning, the different metrics on the platform. We are from the beginning, have been very focused on a range of article level and alternative metrics. So it absolutely made sense to partner up with Altmetric and add that data into our platform. So all of the online activity around your publication is fed into that altmetric score. And just as a reminder, a DOI is the basic requirement for an altmetric score. So if that's really maybe the first step for your journals, if you're thinking about, we have a lot of discoverability issues that we'd like to tackle, DOI is certainly the most essential, let's say. And on the ScienceOpen platform, you can check your altmetric scores. Here is an example from the EASE journals to get a sense of how your work is stacking up. So it can be helpful to search for a particular search term and see how does your content in that area measure up against other competing journals, etc. And of course, if you are a customer of Altmetric, there you can get really excellent tools and insights. This is really just a short overview, but built in to the Discovery platform because we really want to highlight those kinds of article metrics. But the article metric of let's say the most important article metric of all is citations. Citations are the main currency of academia and your ticket to the main indexing services. And a lot of times when journal editors come to me and say, oh, I'm looking to increase the usage of my content. When they say usage, when they say views, what they really thinking are like, we need more citations. We want our content to make an impact on the next cycle of research and be cited in the process. So at ScienceOpen, we try to highlight citations as much as possible. We've created our own transparent citation database, as I just described. And on any article page, you can click on the number of citations here, and you can explore further. You can sort that list by citations, by Altmetric score, by date. So an article with 1,000 citations, you might want to really you can ask some interesting questions of that data. But we also know that our database is not comprehensive. So we also include the Cite AI Smart Citations widget onto the article landing page here. You can find that on every journal article in the entire database. And clicking on that can really give you some more meaty analysis of the citations. As well, if you click on the altmetric score, you'll find the citations on the dimensions database. So we give really three different views of citations, kind of, yeah, you can see. So we understand that citations are important. We also have two cite as buttons on um, the page. I just go back here. So here and here, where users can easily copy and paste a citation, including the DOI, into their literature list, or they can export that in an EndNote or RAS format, etc., and get those sent to them by email. So really trying to put citations front and center. One of the other things, particularly in Europe, multilingual content is a fact of life. If you have journals that do have translations or are completely in a language other than English, one of the things we really are proud of is our ability to process multilingual metadata, even tricky languages such as Arabic or Hebrew or Chinese, and to give a little bit of and as well, researchers themselves can also register on ScienceOpen. They can add a lay summary, and we do have many cases where around the world researchers have added a lay summary on the article page in a different language than the abstract of their paper. So we also open that to sort of community multilingual enrichment, let's say, in order to reach a wider audience. And then one of the other quite interesting functionalities that we've developed recently is the possibility to take all of that richness that I've described of the ScienceOpen search and embed that directly on your own website. So that could be a journal website here. for this journal that's hosting on ScienceOpen, this using an iframe technology, we can embed that search um, uh, directly onto their website. So nobody has to translate each article onto the website, and it's also not the case that their, journal landing page just says, "Oh, see, here's a link to the articles on a different page." You can really get that article level information really quite close. Also, this can be used in different ways for societies that are maybe publishing with publishers uh, on even sometimes multiple journals on multiple platforms, sort of pull that together and display that at the article level with all of that rich search embedded onto a society website. So just a short recap, some of the built-in features to increase visibility and submissions on the collection level. We highlight those collections in all of the search menus. We offer search and sort functionalities within the collection to make those top articles come to the fore. We offer a fully loaded editorial information page. The editors have complete admin control, can change and update that as often as they want. We have a submit manuscript button on the collection page, and we also offer full usage statistics, geolocation, and institutional information that can be downloaded from the collection page. And as well, it can be integrated directly into a third-party web page. At the article level, we offer article metrics, usage recommendations, shares, reviews, collections. We have a strong focus on citations with a sort of multi-dimensional view of that. Do-it-yourself banner that the editor can change, update at any time. All of the metadata from each article is really linked to all of the other parts of the platform, including then promoting this article as a related content on any other uh, content in the platform, and a multilingual presentation. So this gives you a short overview of the features that we offer for our partners in promoting their content within collections. Um, just a just one word. So if you are, if you right now during this call open ScienceOpen, go check. You might be typing in your journal name right now in the search field. And we do have a lot of content because of how we build the database. Most of your content on ScienceOpen, we are grabbing from Crossref. So it can be a really good way to drill down, look at that data, and see how good is our metadata in the wild that's coming directly from Crossref. But of course, if we work with a publisher, we really do a lot of extra cleanup and addition to that metadata to make sure we get a really rich record that can then be found in all of these different search interfaces. So if you look up your content and you have an open access journal and all of the open access symbols are missing, check your Crossref participation report. If you have questions, you can definitely get in touch with us. And it can be sometimes a lot of the journals that we talk with go away and think, I'm going to look at my Crossref metadata and make sure that that is in the best shape that it can possibly be, because some of my content is being indexed and shared and used here in the wild. And as we did for the Ease Journal, when we had a certain number of articles already on the platform, we imported all of their complete data set for the journal and put that into this collection that we then had a promotional space that we could start showing up that brand, that journal name in all of these different places. But it didn't start from zero because some of that content was already being shared, used, recommended, etc. on the platform. Which brings me to just a few more features that I wanted to point out, and that are some of the um, author engagement tools on the platform that can help build communities on ScienceOpen. So, of course, I'm sure you tell this to your authors all the time. You know, the first most basic thing that they really have to do is to share their newly published articles with their networks of peers. Um, Sometimes that happens more or less. I often have the feeling that checking somebody's Altmetric score can highlight those authors who are very good at engaging with their communities in online forums. Um, the on the ScienceOpen platform, we try to make that quite easy by at least having an easy share button. Um, if people want to use that because they've found something interesting on the ScienceOpen platform. This feature doesn't require any registration and takes just a moment. And we have a lot of shares from the platform. The other more in-depth feature that we have beyond just a one-click like button, kind of recommend, or a share button is authors can really review articles on ScienceOpen. It is also possible for you to, as editors, to invite authors to review articles as well. And those reviews are um, linked up with ORCID. They get a Crossref DOI. They're shareable, citable, and trackable objects in the database. So you can really see how people are using your review as an author. And then as a journal, it can be a great way to give authors some credit. So if I'm asked to review an article, which I am from time to time, when I see that that article is published, I take my review, maybe rewrite it just a little bit, post it on ScienceOpen, so I get a little bit of credit for that, hours that I spent reviewing that paper. Um, and the other thing that researchers can do on the ScienceOpen platform is, as I said, they can add a lay summary, they can add a catchy image to really get more better discoverability because more words for the search engines to work with and more community feedback. And this can be done in really any language. And what's required for that? You have to register on ScienceOpen. You have to create a profile. You can then go to your publication list, and you've got a bunch of different options for enhancing the visibility of your articles with richer metadata. And here you can then type in your lay summary, abstract, etc., to get a little bit more visibility. And this for you as editors of a journal can also be a heads up. Oh, people are interacting with my with articles on ScienceOpen. And it can also be a way for you to play around with the idea of lay summaries. If you have any thoughts of how you might want to use this tool, you can also just get in touch with me. And then users on ScienceOpen can track their own metrics, etc. So there's one more feature that I would like to discuss, and that is what I would call sort of growing a content hub on Science Open. So really not to try and think about how you can put your journal in the context of the other content that is related. So researchers on Science Open can apply to for editor status, and then they can create collections on particular topics. Usually they come to us and say, "Oh, I'm an expert in this. I would like to create a collection along these lines." Um, this can be your own authors. So if you've got an author with a who's really strong in a particular topic, that's a good overlap with your journal. This author, you might encourage them to create a collection and start engaging with other users on the platform because they will be naturally promoting your articles along with that. So we really promote whenever there's an overlap with another collection on the platform, it's visible at the top of the page. So here's a collection also on um, telehealth and COVID, on cascading disasters. They really are easy to create and maintain. They're good mentoring projects. They can be used as journal clubs. They can be used for teaching. They can be used for just sharing within a certain group. Um, and I think this is one of the features that it's free on Science Open for all researchers, and journals could really um, uh, play around with this tool together with some of their top authors who maybe want to get, who are, let's say, good at self-promotion. Another way to put your journal sort of in context is to create a super collection of that pairs your journal with other related journals, if you publish multiple journals, or it can pair your journal with um, a collection of all of the outputs of society members or all of the outputs of your institution if you're a university press, or you can put it in the context of um, conference outputs and any other, sort of content that would be related. So, for example, the King Salman Center for Disability Research, they fund a lot of research on disability. They started their own Journal of Disability Research, and they have two paired collections. One, all of the research that they funded, that includes their science and nature papers and their journal. Pair those two collections and make all of that content searchable under one umbrella. In another case, we have created um, a full subdomain hub for an EU project, the Drug Repurposing Central, where they've now collected over 10,000 papers on the topic of drug repurposing, and paired that with two new journals and a preprint server and a conference, and putting all of that under one content hub. Um, on a smaller scale, the Harriet Tubman Institute in Canada created a journal that's just kicking off and is really trying to show what is the scope of content that they're looking for by as well highlighting all of the publications by faculty at the Institute. So those are the kinds of ways in which we can go beyond the journal to create this kind of discovery hub, and that again embedded in the bigger Science Open um, discovery environment. So I want to say thanks for this opportunity to speak and leave a little bit of extra time for questions. Our goal really is to help your journal to grow, to be successful. We are doing that even without partnering with you by adding your content whenever it's cited into our database. But we would love to do it together with you by creating collections, putting all of your content in there. So if you would be interested in doing something similar to what we've worked on with Ease, with their journal, with their but also with their conference, then yeah, just get in touch. I didn't talk too much about the conference, but I would maybe just plug it just at the end because it is coming up. We're really excited. We will be attending and we will be publishing the posters and abstracts on Science Open. So if you are presenting at the conference, if you've got a poster there, then I hope we'll see you on Science Open anyways. So uh, thanks a lot, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, thanks so much for that, Stephanie. That was extremely thorough, and we've had a lot of kind of enthusiastic comments in the chat all the way through that.
Oh, great.
Um, and lots of people sharing kind of their backgrounds. Got lots of editors from journals here, kind of managers of research centers, which leads me to ask a question about who can curate these collections of journals. And you did mention associations, but is this something that an institute could do, or a research center could do, to collect the journals that they host, like institutional publications, or maybe a super collection for where all their authors are publishing these kind of things?
Absolutely. So we have uh, our customers range from like single journal um, uh, uh, publishers to institutional publishers. So we have, I think we're promoting 5 different journals from the Ocean University of China, and some of those are published with Elsevier, some with Wiley. There's a range of different publishers, but they can put all of those under one sort of searchable showcase on Science Open. So we like working with institutes. We're also doing a couple different projects with University of South Africa, UCL, where we are looking at university-wide kind of outputs collections, but also thinking about pairing those with like the journals.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think that collecting everything together into really neat, tidy kind of platform is really valuable. And even for the EASE journal, European Science Editing, we have our own journal website, but at the same time, you're capturing a lot of information of individual articles and adding an extra layer of people being able to discover the journal that I think these collect together in a really tidy kind of way, and seeing it all come together when we've been creating the Ease journal page collection has been yeah, really satisfying, and it's been really easy for me to edit as well.
Oh, that's good.
So that's all been the process was quite straightforward, but this is a segue to another question. um, Whether you have, because your presentation did have a lot of information in it, um, whether you have any kind of easy to reference documentation for maybe journals to share with their authors and communities about how to engage with the platform in a, like a one sheet infographic of making the most of Science Open to promote your work kind of materials.
Yeah, definitely. I'm assuming that my colleague Stuart, who's maybe online, would put some links to our flyers in the chat. We have a series of flyers based on sort of the different kinds of products that we offer. And our YouTube channel has a lot of kind of how-to videos for everything from like how to cite something, how to export citations, how to get the most as a user. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of information there on yeah how to get started with Science Open.
Oh, those sound great. Yep, Stuart's just added in the chat the link to the flyers. Thanks, Stuart.
Perfect.
Fantastic, very helpful. Um, one, if anyone else has any questions that are coming to you while we're talking, please feel free to put them in the chat. Um, I have a quick question about your quick share links. Will you be adding Blue Sky to
We
the
will
drop down
definitely
list?
be adding Blue Sky. We have I didn't highlight it too much, but we have a way to embed also let's say earlier it was our Twitter feed and have that embedded feed as part of the journal landing page.
Yeah,
Um, Twitter broke that.
yeah,
So we ourselves also started a Blue Sky account. We added that Blue Sky feed now, and we are also encouraging any publishers who have problems with their X embed feature to try Blue Sky as well. So yes, we are ourselves ourselves migrating a lot of activities over to Blue Sky.
migrating. That's the diplomatic word. Um, yeah, I've also migrated all my platforms presence over to Blue Sky. Um, Louis Peruch in the chat asks, um, is the platform compatible with OJS journals?
Absolutely, and most of our customers are let's maybe not most, but a large portion of our customers are using OJS as their publishing solution and hosting, and they are promoting their content then on Science Open. You could pair an OJS peer review system with Science Open hosting. That would also be no problem. And we as well have done things like created a ScienceOpen plugin for this adding this search capabilities into an OJS page. I think OJS has improved their search tools. I know some years ago it was sometimes difficult and less flexible. So that was when we had some requests. Could we
Oh,
embed on OJS?
but yeah, adding one of those search collection pages to an OJS website would be really nice. That's a part of our implementation we haven't got to yet with the Ease journal, but I would be interested in adding a page into our Ease website to kind of showcase articles directly there
Mm.
and you know see what effect that has. That'd be good.
I think
Um,
for societies, it's really that's really cool feature that we're just, trying to expand because society web pages in general have a lot of information for society members, but if you go to publications, it's like a little drop-down menu, and then it's just a link to the journal on some other page.
Yeah,
So,
especially when they have more than one journal as well, which they often do. So to collect
yeah.
everything with filters is really convenient because actually making, a journal website, it's not that easy. People find out. And it's making peer review platforms is not that easy either.
Yeah, it's definitely true.
Yeah.
And just to get that article level information onto the sort of society page, I see real value in that because like these are your colleagues, right? So you if you open that, you're like, you know those authors, you're like, oh, so and so wrote a new paper. Otherwise, you have to click on the link to the journal
Yeah.
and open the journal page. This way you go to the society landing page and you're like, oh, look, cool, brand new.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, like you said, we haven't mentioned the conference very much, but one of the other features of Science Open that I have been setting up is the conference collection page and our speakers at the conference. I have been loading our conference abstracts into the conference page for the forthcoming Oslo conference, and we could add the ORCID ID to the
Mhm.
speakers when we add the speakers to each of the sessions. And they will have been notified of this because I've seen some of our speakers from the conference sharing their Science Open conference sessions on Blue Sky and telling everyone about the conference using Science Open. So it's all working. It's all coming together really nicely.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. I saw
Mm.
something pop up like maybe that some of the Ease members could make research collections on particular topics. I sort of started out with like an open peer review of preprints collection that I've created myself. And I mean, I think that would be a brilliant idea. It's a good way to start, you know, creating a information hub for the whole community and really just like bringing people to interact with that content. A lot of it's going to be from your own journal. Some of it's going to
Yeah.
be from, the rest of the ecosystem.
I mean, one thing I do like to do that we have been doing with ease as well in our communities sections for our equity, diversity community, our environment sustainability committee. We have kind of activity sections that kind of list sort of conferences people have presented about the committee at or the work of the committee or where members of the committee have published something. But the Science Open collection would actually make that would be a space to do that as well, kind of reinforce that, or for anyone that doesn't
Mhm,
have a website like we've got with ease,
mhm,
that would be a good way to collect those kind of themes of committees or working groups and bring in all of the work that those individual members have been doing to sort of emphasize their role in the community or how much work those individuals are doing, and a good way
mhm.
to sort of reinforce and represent what those individuals are doing.
Yeah.
Um,
And see how they overlap with what other people are doing out there. So I think that's
yeah,
one of the great things to see how this collection is related to this collection and find new partners and, maybe find new members for ease by people saying,
yeah,
"Oh, look, this is an interesting collection. Who are these people?" Right? Maybe I should
yeah,
join.
yeah. Good way to find potential collaborators or get ideas for new new research or themes that are popping up. Yeah. Um, okay, and Stuart in the chat has also heard we're investigating newsletter collections for societies. Do you want to say a bit more about that if you have something to say?
Well, I've have a request from another society. They've got a journal and they also are looking at other kinds of content that they produce that
Okay.
right now doesn't get DOIs. So right now it's kind of on a blog or something like this. Also, blog posts, is that something that one could, with DOIs, sort of put into this context of the journal and show how that is related. So we're working on creating an interface to create the metadata for Crossref for newsletters and make those more discoverable, citable.
Okay, yeah, nice. That's very interesting because the journal I work with, we have a newsletter and we have articles expanding on the themes of the articles in the journal. So that
Hmm.
would be, yeah, those would be ideal to kind of cross over into giving them a unique DOI and enrich
Yeah.
the content of the journal and make them, yeah, something distinct and
Can
standalone.
make a nice archive of these newsletters because they are a lot of work. I think people put a lot of effort into those and
Yeah.
then they're a little bit ephemeral somehow.
Uh, okay. Yeah. Um, well, there's a couple of minutes until the hour. Um, but that was, if anyone has any last questions they want to squeeze in, Mary in the chat is adding the links to our upcoming webinars. We have more webinars on academic manuscript editing, skills and trends in manuscript editing for journal authors as well as manuscript editors, with our Indian Indian chapter and our April members webinar from our ENS committee on promoting SDG content in the journal. And I think, do you have an SDG collection on Science Open as well?
We do have multiple SDG collections, some of them sort of one that's run by us, but also different publishers have their own collections of SDG relevant content, and we really try to encourage people to put things like SDG as a keyword to
Yeah.
expose that more. It's gotten easier with, let's say, AI to kind of to identify SDG relevant content, but in the end, I think none of us are really served by kind of automating the whole process and sitting back and saying like, oh, um, uh, now it's taking care of itself, because I think
Yeah.
that's the whole point of the SDGs, that it really requires us to like think hard about solutions, and it's not going to be easy. We're not going to be able to just sprinkle AI on it and be like, okay, there is some research being done on SDGs, so that's good enough, right?
Yeah.
We're not making the progress on those SDGs that we need to be making, so there's still work to be done.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be the topic of this webinar is
Hmm.
how to engage kind of research into SDG, um, sustainable development goals for anyone that
Hmm.
we've only been saying SDG, bad form, sustainable development goals, how to research those and how to acquire that kind of research for your journal, promote it, and get your journal engaged with the environment and sustainable sort of practices and interests. And yeah, Stuart's dropping the links in the chat to the SDG Publishers Compact Fellows link.
There's some really nice tips for how to engage that were published in that. So
Yes, so uh, I think with that we may have reached a conclusion for our session today. Thank you very much for that. That was fantastic, fascinating, really incredibly practical and useful, and I'm really glad that we've had so much kind of positive responses in the chat, a lot of enthusiasm, and I hope people really got something very useful out of that. Yeah, I know I did. So yeah,
fantastic.
thanks very much for this, Stephanie, and thanks again to Science Open for sponsoring the conference and um, the support for our journal and ease with the Science Open platform. We're looking forward to meeting in Oslo in
Yes.
in May. Um, so yeah, everyone, the conference. The EASE conference is in Oslo in May, the 14th to 16th of May. It's a hybrid conference, so if you can't join us in person, you can register to join us online and experience 10, 11 sessions of on the theme of editing in the age of misinformation. So how to ensure journals publish accurate information and perhaps even step in when they see misinformation being wielded in the world around them.
Absolutely.
So with that, can we put the link of the conference to register? Yes, it's just above in the chat. Let me post it again quickly before we
Kick
end the
everybody out
webinar.
and like
Yeah. Yeah, it's on the ease webinar, ease.org.uk, European Association of Science Editors, to give us our full name, which we don't say out loud very often. But yeah, thanks everyone for attending. Thanks, Stuart, for everything in the chat. Thanks, Stephanie, for your presentation.
Thanks a
We'll
lot.
see you all soon.
See you at the next webinar.
Yeah.
And in May.
Yeah, see you in May.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks all. Thanks, everyone.